Hold up. Hold up. Did Jimmy Butler just say, y'all are in trouble? Did Jimmy Butler just tell LeBron James, y'all are in trouble? Listen, after last night's historic performance from Jimmy Butler, I can't even be mad at him for talking big stuff. Like, I can't be mad at Jimmy Butler for calling LeBron James out after LeBron in the first quarter said the same thing to Butler. See, LeBron put his foot in his mouth a little early, telling Butler that the Miami Heat were in trouble after they had a big lead in the first quarter, wound up closing it only to be a 3-point lead for the Miami Heat after LeBron and the Lakers had 10 first quarter turnovers. So when it came to the end of the game, to see Jimmy Butler after dropping a historic 40-point triple-double, to then tell LeBron James that the Lakers are in trouble, that's big. That's as big time as it gets. That right there, that's as big time as it gets. You gotta understand this. Put this into context. Last night's performance from Jimmy Butler, we've never seen anybody perform like that. I'm talking about LeBron James. I'm talking about Russell Westbrook. I'm talking about Michael Jordan. It doesn't matter. We've never seen a player have a 40-point triple-double and win a game in the finals until last night. It wasn't a Kobe. It wasn't a Michael Jordan or Kevin Durant or LeBron James that did that. It was Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Buckets. And it wasn't just him having 40 points. He contributed to I think it was the second highest, 73 total points that he contributed to this team through his scoring and through his assists. 73 points. Unbelievable, man. Like, Jimmy Butler's performance last night, to me, is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. On this episode, we're going to break down just how historic his performance was. Also, make sure you stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to kind of preview Game 4 and some of the adjustments I think both teams need to make in order to try to either spread this thing out to a 3-1 lead for the Lakers or to tie it up at 2-2. Let's get into it.
Are you ready?
Welcome back to Journey of a Ballaholic, the best talk show for basketball addicts. I'm your host, General Hannibal X. Now, if you're new on this channel here, you're going to be getting my passionate and in-depth analysis on the hottest NBA and college basketball topics. Listen, I'm a ballaholic, absolutely addicted to basketball. And just like everybody, I have my own opinions. But if you like opinions that are backed by facts, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. But also, be sure that you go ahead and hit that join now button, as I've got a new members only section where we're doing live exclusive Q&A sessions. We're doing my new series where we call it Cooking with the General, where I'm prepping, cooking, and we're talking all things basketball. I mean NBA draft, free agency, you name it. So go down below, hit that join now button, and make sure you go ahead and sign up. Listen, when it comes to last night's performance, I think you really got to put things in context about just how dominant Jimmy Butler was, and even this whole Miami Heat team as a whole. I mean, this team right here was massive underdogs. Not only did they have their starting point guard in Goran Dragic out, not only did they have their all-star big man who's a do-it-all triple threat kind of, scoring, rebounding, defending, passing, everything big man and Bam Adebayo out. This team right here also is full of a lot of young guys. Tyler Hero, who's starting now. Duncan Robinson, who's starting. They got Kendrick Nunn coming off the bench. I mean, these guys are young, and it did not matter. Faced with a 2-0 deficit, this Miami Heat team, led by Jimmy Butler, he told these boys, listen, we've got a chance. We're not out of this. In Game 2, you saw the vet, Udonis Haslem, over there barking and just basically calling the team out, saying, listen, you got to play, you got to bust your butt every single moment of the game. It didn't help them in Game 2, but I'll be daggone if it didn't help them for Game 3. These boys came out there and balled, and you got to tip your hat to Jimmy Butler. He told these boys, get on my back, and let's go get this win, and that's exactly what they did. I'm gonna be honest with you. That performance last night, it reminded me a lot of 2006. Remember, the Miami Heat in their first NBA Finals championship run, led by a Marquette player who went out there and had a 40-point game. I think it was almost like 13 rebounds, and he did it after being down 0-2 in the series. Remember that. That was Dwayne Wade. That was Flash. Jimmy Butler yesterday won up Dwayne Wade. Not only did he have a 40-point game, not only did he go out there and give you double-digit rebounds, also gave you 13 assists. Listen, that performance last night from Jimmy Butler, he became the second player in NBA history to have a 40 40-point performance in the finals without hitting one made three, joining the diesel Shaquille O'Neal. Like, think about that. As dominant as Shaq was, Jimmy Butler's just the second player to ever do that. Put up a 40-point game in the finals with no threes, all mid-range, all post-ups, all getting to the paint, layups, dunks. Butler was on the glass. Jimmy Butler was unbelievable. To me, that performance last night was one of the greatest finals games that I've ever seen. I think I'm putting that in my top 5 all time that I've seen in my personal life. Top 5, hands down. To go out there and put up, think about this for a second. LeBron James is one of the greatest players to ever play the game. And this is his 10th NBA Finals. He's got over 50 games, right? LeBron James, for the first time in his career, had any player, whether teammate or opponent, have more points, more rebounds, and more assists in the same game. And that was Jimmy Butler. Russell Westbrook didn't do that. Kevin Durant didn't do it. Kawhi Leonard didn't do it. Steph Curry didn't do it. Draymond Green. None of these great players did what Jimmy Butler did last night. Unbelievable. Faced with basically elimination, because if the Miami Heat lost last night, I was calling for a sweep. Had they lost, now initially, and I gotta stand on my initial predictions. Initially, I had Miami losing to the Lakers in 7. That was my prediction before the final started. Once all the injuries happened in Game 1, and I just kind of seen how dominant the Lakers were, and I saw the strategies that each team was going with, I switched that up to Lakers in 5. I never really thought it was going to be a sweep, but I did feel that if the Miami Heat lost Game 3, they were going to get swept. And Jimmy Butler was not going to allow that to happen. Now, as amazing as Jimmy Butler was, and you got to give him a lot of credit, he wasn't the only one that was out there balling. He wasn't the only one. Think about this. They got 17 points from Tyler Hero. But I think the biggest X factor was Kelly Olynyk. 17 points and 7 rebounds from Kelly Olynyk. Now, you may say, why was that so big? I'm going to tell you, man. I think they may have found a way to try to last and try to extend this playoffs finals. Bam Adebayo, as we know, is their best big man. Be very clear about what I'm about to say. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that Kelly Olynyk is better. I'm not saying the team is better. But what I will say, the Miami Heat have a better chance against this Laker team with Kelly Olynyk and Myers Leonard compared to Bam Adebayo. Now understand what I'm saying. Bam Adebayo is, like I say, he's the best big man, the best rebounder, the best shot blocker, probably the best facilitator. Like, he does it all for them. But what he doesn't do is shoot from the 3. He does not space that floor. Meaning the Lakers, and specifically Dwight Howard, who, as we saw, was excellent against a legit big man in Nikola Jokic. He's rendered useless against these guys out on the perimeter. That's why Frank Vogel sat JaVale McGee. He sat Dwight Howard in that Houston series when they went small. Miami's not necessarily going small, but when they play with 5 guys like a Kelly Olynyk or Myers Leonard at that 5 position, and it pulls Dwight Howard out to that 3-point line, he can't guard out there. Dwight Howard is a solid, a legit rim protector, a legit rebounder. He needs to be around that paint. And if Bam is in there, Dwight Howard is in there, and he's affecting things around that paint. Look at where Butler got most of his points. Once again, he didn't hit 1-3. His points were in the paint and around the paint. If Dwight Howard, if Bam's in there, Bam's helping to clog the paint. Dwight Howard's in there in that paint. So now you got Anthony Davis and Dwight Howard kind of all around. It's just too much size, too much length. But when you don't have Bam in there, it allows them to spread that floor, and it basically forces them to take Dwight Howard played 13 minutes last night. It forced them to take him out the game and bring in a guy like Markieff Morris. Now, Morris played amazing. 19 points. He was hitting almost everything. It seemed like he was 5 for 11 from 3. So he played amazing. But from a defensive standpoint, he's nowhere near the defender, nowhere near the rebounder that a Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee is. So, and also, it allows Anthony Davis to then, for Anthony Davis to then move to the 4th spot when he's playing alongside with these big men. And he becomes an even more tougher player to guard, and also, it makes it easier for him to roam. So, with that being said, the Miami Heat's best chance, in my opinion, is to not bring Bam Adebayo back. Like, Goran Dragic is done. With the plantar fascia he's got in his foot, the injury is kind of torn under his foot. He's done for the series. There's no chance, in my opinion, of him coming back. Bam, I think there's a chance where he could possibly come back in this thing, but if he does, I think it lessens the chance Miami has in the series. I'm still sticking with Lakers in 5. I think after this performance where we saw Anthony Davis getting early foul trouble, we saw Anthony Davis just kind of not be his aggressive self on either end, scared to get fouls, and you got to give Miami a lot of credit for positioning themselves to be able to capitalize on that, to be able to put Anthony Davis in foul trouble. LeBron James, he had the numbers, but the 8 turnovers, the early turnovers, the careless ball, the being a little passive, he wasn't himself, right? And as of right now, when it comes to this MVP race, it was a 2-man race. Now it's turned into a 3-man race. And the reality is, I'm still sticking with LeBron James. Like, initially, after the first 2, I had Anthony Davis slightly leading the Finals MVP race. After Game 3, it's clearly LeBron James. But you got a third person sneaking up in there in Jimmy Butler. But for me, LeBron James right now is the Finals MVP. When you look at the statistical breakdown from the points, rebounds, assists, I mean, LeBron's basically doing it all for this team. And Anthony Davis, you cannot allow a Kelly Olynyk, a backup center, you cannot allow Kelly Olynyk to outplay you. He had more points and more rebounds. The Lakers will not beat the Miami Heat if Kelly Olynyk is going to outplay Anthony Davis while Jimmy Butler is also outplaying LeBron James. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, seeing Jimmy Butler talking big-time trash to LeBron James at the end of the game, I loved it. As an NBA basketball fan, I loved it. I'm so sick of all of this buddy-buddy stuff in the league. I get it, but I'm an old school, and I'm a little old school, right? So I want to see some battles. I want to see some of that competitiveness out there. That's why I love guys like Kobe Bryant. That's why I love Russell Westbrook. He's not out there trying to be your buddy, trying to be your friend. He's out there trying to kill you. And I love the fact that Jimmy Butler told LeBron James, y'all in trouble. Now, whether he believes that, honestly, I think he does believe it. Whether that's true, I don't think for 1 second in the world that the Lakers are in trouble. Like I said, I'm sticking with the Lakers in 5. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you think the Miami Heat actually have a chance to win this thing? Can they win more than, let's start here. Can the Miami Heat win more than one game? Can they win another one? Do you giving them a chance to win the series? What do you think about Jimmy Butler's historic performance? Game 3, where do you rank that in the all-time finals performance? From one game, we're not talking about the whole series. For one game, where do you rank his performance based on all the finals games that you've seen? Let me know in the comment section below. Listen, man, that game last night was amazing. And I think for Game 4, the key to it for Miami, you got to stay in that zone. You cannot allow yourself to try to play them in man. That was the key that coming into the series, I said before, is the only chance Miami Heat had was to run a zone, to mix and match out of a 2-3 to a 3-2 to a 1-2-1, to just switching it up, right? You got to mix it up on LeBron. But you had to run zone because if you go man, you're going to get in foul trouble and you're going to allow LeBron James and Anthony Davis to pick you apart. When you run zone, you force those other guys to be shooters. Now, we saw in Game 2, the Lakers set an NBA Finals record for the most threes attempted in any game in NBA Finals history. That's not their style of play. Now, granted, they hit a lot of them, but in Game 3, it actually came out to benefit the Miami Heat because guys like Danny Green, guys like KCP, who have been playing amazing basketball up until last night, it seemed like, these guys couldn't hit the ocean with a basketball seam. And that's the chance that you're going to be able to beat the Lakers. When you're forcing Rondo, you're forcing KCP, you're forcing Danny Green, you're forcing these role players to shoot from deep and they're missing. Now you're rebounding because you're in that zone and you're able to run. Trying to out-jump LeBron James, trying to out-jump Anthony Davis, out-jump Dwight Howard, it's not going to happen, man. It's not going to happen. They're going to have to rebound as a team. That's why Jimmy Butler had 11 rebounds. The guards, the perimeter guys, are going to have to get down there and crash the glass. Kelly Olynyk was big with 7 rebounds. So Miami Heat's got to stay in that zone. They got to keep attacking, and they got to take care of the ball. You got to keep the Lakers out of transition because that's where they get a lot of their easy points. So that's what the Miami Heat have to do for Game 4. The Lakers, they got to keep Anthony Davis out of foul trouble. You got to keep him. He will take himself out if he's in foul trouble. Number 1. Number 2, LeBron James got to take care of the ball. 9 assists and no turnovers in Game 2, 8 assists and 8 turnovers in Game 3. That's the difference of the game right there. You cannot have your best player turning the ball over that many times. 10 turnovers in the first quarter, 5 turnovers in the fourth quarter. That's not going to get it done when you're trying to beat a hungry team, a team that's not going to give up. So if the Lakers want to win, they'll keep Anthony Davis out of foul trouble. LeBron James will get those turnovers in control, and the role players will continue to take those open shots, and they'll make, like, KCP and Green were off, but you got to give Markieff Morris and Kyle Kuzma a lot of credit. They were balling. They hit their threes. So there is going to be somebody on this Laker team that, like I say, so if somebody's off, somebody else I think will be on. I think it's enough shooters out there to where Vogel is not attached to any of these ancillary pieces. LeBron and Davis are set. The rest of these guys are going to go with the hot hand, and that's what he did. He rolled those guys, and I think that's what we're going to see in Game 4. So, like I said, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click the logo right here. If you missed any of my previous videos, click the box right here. And until next time, make sure that you stay safe in the streets. And remember, we still demand justice for Breonna Taylor and Jacob Blake. Peace.